Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at solving linear systems using elimination. Okay, this is the third method we've learned on how to solve systems of linear equations. Again, our objective today to solve systems of linear equations using elimination. Okay, and it's the third method. The essential question: how can we use elimination, all right, to solve a system of two linear equations? Okay, you're going to need to know that for the notes assignment. Okay, guys, just to review, we've looked at three methods for solving systems of linear equations. The first one was by graphing, where you graph the two lines and find out where they intersect. That's the point they have in common, and that's the solution. Then we looked at substitution, where one equation is already solved for the variable in terms of the other one. So it's easy just to substitute into the other equation. So you have one equation with one variable. Then you can find the answer and plug it back into one of the original equations. Well, our third method we're looking at today is elimination. And elimination is where you take the two equations and add them up. But you do so in a way that you eliminate one of the variables. As an example, down here in the lower right, if we add 4x plus 3x, we get 7x. But if we add negative 2y plus 2y, we get 0, and the y is eliminated. We add negative 2 and negative 12, we get negative 14. So now we have an equation that says 7x equals negative 14, and we can solve for x, and then plug it back in, okay? Guys, there's some vocabulary words today. Some of these should be review for you. The first one is coefficient. It's the number that we use to multiply a variable. It's the number that's placed in front of or before the variable in an algebraic expression. In this case, the coefficient is 4. All right, 4x. The coefficient is 4. Okay? Our next vocabulary word is additive inverse. And guys, additive inverses always add up to 0. Sometimes we call these opposites. All right, if you have 2x, its additive inverse is negative 2x, right? Because they add up to 0. I know that's obvious, but I want you guys to know that term because we're going to use it here for elimination. All right, the next vocabulary word is standard form, and you've had this before. The standard form of a linear equation looks like this right here. ax plus by equals c. And guys, we use standard form when we use elimination to solve a systems of linear equations, because it's easy to line them up that way, to line them up, all right, one on top of the other, so that the variables line up. All right, our last vocabulary word is, of course, the elimination method. It's when an additive inverse is used to eliminate one of the variables. All right? There's an example on the bottom here where negative 2y and 2y, when you add those up, it disappears. The y variable is eliminated. This is an example that we already looked at. Or if you look at the example up here in the white box, 2x plus negative 2x is 0. So if we add up these two equations, we eliminate the x. Okay? Let's look at some examples. Again, example number 1 is when we already have an additive inverse. So we already have negative 2y and 2y. So you just line them up, you put them both in standard form, line them up, add them up. So you get 5x, the y's are eliminated, and 7 plus 3 is 10. So 5x equals 10. So x is 2. Then I just plug x equals 2 back into the original equation. This top equation right here, I rewrote it right there. This says 4x, but we know x is 2. Minus 2y equals 7. That's this top equation. I just rewrote it. Then multiplied. 4 times 2 is 8. Solve this for y. We end up y equals 1/2. And that's our answer. 2 1/2. Okay? Write it as an ordered pair. And we can check our answer too in the other equation. If x is 2 and y is 1/2, well, half of 2 is 1. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. So it works. Let's look at example number 2. We don't have an additive inverse, but we can multiply one of the equations and get an additive inverse. Here's our systems of equations right here. If we multiply this top equation times negative 5, then this first term becomes negative 5x. And just make sure you multiply every term times negative 5. So the middle term becomes negative 30y equals negative 10. This is rewriting the top equation multiplied times 5. Now we can add up the two equations. Just write the second equation. Same thing right underneath there. When you add them up, the x's disappear. They're eliminated. All right, so negative 30y plus 4y is negative 26y. And 36 minus 10 is 26. So y is negative 1. Then I plugged it back into this first equation. X plus 6y. Well, we know y is negative 1. Equals 2. Solve for x, I get 8. So our answer is 8, negative 1. Okay, one more example. It's when both equations need to be multiplied in order to get an additive inverse. So we can eliminate one of the variables. In this case, if I multiply this top number by 3, the top equation, I mean by 3, and the bottom equation times negative 2, I end up with 6x and negative 6x. And that's what we want. We want some additive inverse to eliminate one of the variables. All right, again, 3 times 4 is 12y. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10y. So when I add those two up, I get 2y. Or we solve for this, I get y equals 4. Then I plug that back into the original equation, this top equation, 2x plus 4y equals 10. I just rewrote it right there. Because now we know y is 4. Then I solve for x. Remember to write it x, y in that order, okay? Guys, these are the 6 steps for solving using elimination. And this is what the notes assignment is today. It's putting those 6 in order, so you need to know that. Again, first put them both in standard form, both equations, so they're lined up with like variables, one on top of each other. And create an additive inverse if you need to, by multiplying one or both equations. Then add the two equations up to eliminate one of the variables because you have an additive inverse. and then solve for that first variable. Step number 5, plug it back in to one of the original equations and find that second variable. And then check your answer and write it as an ordered pair. Okay, right now, please fill out the notes assignment and the summary. I'm sorry, the summary is the thing you need to know for the steps. All right, they're in the green folder. The vocabulary words, the 4 words are listed right there for you. And prepare for the Zoom meeting, guys. We'll go over the vocabulary together in the Zoom meeting. And we'll make sure that you got the summary done correctly. Okay? That's it. Make sure to come back in Zoom. Thank you.